I was asking him about, you see these Chicago Auto Pros videos, you don't see them performing that great. And, they have so I was asking about the very particular system they have with the primer polishes and this and that. And does that lead to better performance? And as you explained, there are different kind of style of water behavior. So it's a very interesting system. And going back to the primer polishes, I don't think me and Dewar, have you tested any of Dr. Beasley's?
No, I haven't.
Yeah. So we don't know nothing about it. So sell us on these primer polishes in the system. Like
it's interesting. It came out about 2 years ago, and I was actually at Chicago Auto Pros when Jim Lefebvre had us test the products there, like even before he released them. We were doing the training, like it was Chicago Auto Pros' very first like detail-wise in-person training course, like right before sickness hit. And it was so much fun. It was so much fun in that course. But Jim was there, and he was like, I want you guys to test out this new line. And I was there with Jason Kilmer from KXK. And he is a crazy guy when it comes to polishing. Like, he knows his stuff. But he likes a very specific type of thing when he's polishing. So me and him were playing with the polish, and he was like, I hate it. And he walked away. And I'm like, I kind of do too. Like, I don't like the way it's working. I don't like it. And I remember seeing Jim like this, like looking at us, and he's like thinking. He didn't say a word. He was just like looking and thinking like, uh-oh, like why aren't they not liking this? And so at first I didn't like the products. I'm like, I don't understand. I wanted it to be magical. I wanted it to be something that would be awesome. Well, come to find out, we applied it completely wrong. And talking to Chris and everything and playing with the products, I bought them all. I bought like the 45, the 95, the 150, the Z1. Like I bought the whole line. And I'm like, you know what? There's something here. Let me just give it a try. It sat in my shelf for a long time, but I'm like, let me give it a try. Started to do some more research on it, and I found out that you literally use a pea-sized drop. One, like no prime of the pad.
Oh wow.
Because it's spread so thin that you don't need to prime it. Priming it ruins everything. The less product is more. Yeah, pea-sized drop, like in the center or on the corner of the pad, and like on the edge of the pad, and you work it in. And when you work it in, you're like, oh my goodness, I can't believe that's a pea-sized drop. Like it'll do a giant panel, and you work it in, and basically you can work it until it pretty much dries out, or like as dry as you can get it. So you just keep working it, working it, working it. And then when you wipe it off, it's going to be smeary. And again, that's why we didn't like it at first. We're like, oh, it's smeary. You got to use like multiple towels. And we're like, this is horrible. And then all of a sudden, like a minute later, it like does this weird residue hazing thing again. It comes back. And I'm like, I'm wiping it. And 30 seconds later, it like kind of hazes and comes back again. And I'm like, what is going on? So I talked to Jason from Chicago Auto Pros, and he's like, coat right over it. He's like, he's been working with it. He's like, coat right over it. I'm like, are you sure? Like, is it like if it comes back? He's like, no, it doesn't. He's like, this is how the system works. It's weird. There's a learning curve to it.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, it's very, very weird. And many people are not going to like it when they first use it if they don't have prior knowledge and training with it. But the more we use it, I mean, we used it for the past 2 years. And we've been coating Crystal Serum Light on it, EXO, all the other coatings.
So you can use any coating.
Yeah. Yep.
Wow.
Because we don't even use any of the Dr. Beasleys coatings. We're just using G-Technic and Geon. Those are our favorites. And for the past 2 years, we've been doing it, and cars have been coming back. The ones that we've used that system on are performing better than the ones that we just did an IPA wipe on. So I've been tracking them. I'm like, something is interesting here. So those NSP polishes are called Nano Surface Primer, NSP? Yeah, Nano Surface Primer. They're basically a all-in-one polish. It has ceramics in it, but it has a very unique emulsified version of, what do you call it, abrasives? Because there's different grades, so different abrasives in it that break down very quick, very lubricating. And it has SiO2 in it that starts to bond, and what they say, it creates anchor points. So basically it's just laying down a thin layer of SiO2 that cures like very, very fast. Like it bonds, cures, locked in. And you're wiping it off, and the residue that you see is just over application, which is very hard to not over apply for some paints. So you can basically wipe off the majority of it, and if a little hazing comes back, no problem. Wipe it, coat right over it, it goes away completely.
Interesting.
Clear, beautiful. And you can see it in the videos on the cars that I've done, finicky black paint, and you can see it smeary the moment I put the coating on and wipe it off, level it out, crystal clear, compared to the other side that's like still smeary. It's a weird beast to work with, but the results at the end make it all worth it. It boosts the durability of any coating. It makes it bond better, and it improves every other coating out there. It's very, very interesting stuff.
That's wild. Yeah, sounds like you definitely need to sit through a good class and with this Dr. Beasleys line.
Yeah, so I wanted to talk about that because for years I've been wanting companies to come out with proper primer polishes.
Mm-hmm.
And Car Pro Essence has theirs and Geon has theirs, but you have to wait 24 hours. And I wish they would reformulate it so that you could just wait an hour or just coat it right away.
Mm-hmm.
I almost think in the back of my mind that technically they put that only on there for just to kind of cover their, cover their butts a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm kind of wondering if you can coat right over it, right over
it.
Like Dr. Beasleys. They're just not saying it.
Dr. Beasley's just a little braver.
Yeah, they're like, do it. Just coat right over it because
Mm-hmm.
you can't. But CarPro has never said it. Geon has never quite said it. They say wait 24 hours. So I did that, and it's nice, but I'm like, I can't do a whole extra day if I'm doing a coating job. I need it like out the door, 2 days max. That's it, and it needs to be out the door.
Mm-hmm.
So Dr. Beasleys does that. It speeds everything up. And for black finicky paints, no more IPA wipe downs. No more risk of marring the paint. Even with the softest metals, I've done all the testing. I have
less touching, the better. Yep.
Yeah. So I did all that, and I'm like, this is working. It's working on the worst paint. So it's my secret weapon for black paints.
That's amazing.